Okay. Ooh, it's a little loud. So I can go ahead and start. Good to go. I think I have it on backwards. I was right the first time. I doubted myself. Okay, so I'm gonna be kind of quick because I want to answer questions more than I'm not sure what you guys really want to know about puppets. But okay, so in the pamphlet on the handout, there's a really fun little thing we'll do at the end of it. But first, I'm Glenda Fields. This is my husband, Drew Fields, and he's my keeping me on the ground kind of person because I go from, oh, this will be good. Oh, this is cool. Let's light it on fire. And then he's like, oh, whoa, wait. Calm down. And I'm like, okay, let me relax. So I started doing puppets, and somebody asked me yesterday what made me think about making a puppet and not using a puppet stand. And I was thinking about it, and I was like, man, I can't remember what it was, but it was actually, I went to Disneyland, and they had a theater show of Aladdin, and they did the bird. The bird, I'm not sure what his name is, but he came out, the man came out dressed in black, and the bird was a puppet. And you could see the man. He was talking and everything, but you focused on the bird. And I thought about it, and I was like, that's so cool. And I didn't do anything. And then we went again, and it was Frozen. And they did Olaf. And I said, oh my goodness, I'm going to do that. What do they have that I don't have? Which I don't have the knowledge right now, but we have Google. And Google's really good. So I decided I was going to make a worm. So this is my very first. She's a little sad because she was glued together. And it's not expensive. I would thought it was. It's what made me think I couldn't do it. But I thought I'll make it so she'll wrap around me. And I'll put it on my shoulders. And she's kind of ripped. I didn't sew it so I could show you guys what it was. But it's just that stretchy material if you put on skirts or something like a face mask. And the inside of this, the mouth, is actually cut up storage bins, which my mom walked into our Sunday school room one time and thought, what happened in here? You can see everything in the bins. And I said, oh, that was me. But now you can see what's in there. And easier access. Look, I gave you little holes right there. And she's like, what are you doing? And I said, I'm making me. And her eyeballs are extra large ping pong balls. And I just hot glued them. And I started teaching Sunday school without a puppet stand. And I remember telling him, hey, I'm going to do this. And he said, but you're not going to hide? I said, nope, I'm not going to hide. I'm just going to walk around. And the kids knew when I had this on, I was Lepidoptera, which is a term for a caterpillar, I guess. And everybody was like, where's Leppy? Where's Leppy? When I put her on, I was Leppy. And I did lesson. I did songs. I was scared. I was sad. I was just a bunch of different things. And I would use this hand for other stuff, maybe wave. But that's how I did this one. And I ripped up a chair. That is what is in here. So you don't really need money. You just need to be okay not to sit down. Because Drew came in and was like, where do I sit? I'm just kidding. I didn't do that. Imagine. We have a couch. That's a lot of puppets. That's a lot of friends just waiting to be made. See, my mind does that. I need to calm down. But she was the first one. And then I made a ladybug, which I didn't bring her because it was a man, actually. His name was Manly Ladybug. And he had a whole spiel on why ladybugs are men, which they are. Just FYI, the spotted ones are. And he was Manly the ladybug. And then I made a cockroach, and she was our bad guy. And her name was Rochina. And she was the bad guy. But actually, you cannot live. The ecosystem does not work without cockroaches. So if there was no devil, so anyways, that's a different thing. I didn't bring him because he was awful. He was just, the wings were cardboard, but hey, you can start with anything. You can do it with anything, a sock, a bag. Just start off. And then I jumped from that straight into the dragon. I didn't do anything in between, which I should have. I move this. The eyes do blink. The eyes do blink. It's a girl. Her name is Lizzie. And I made that out of Christmas ornaments. You know, they have the ones that come apart and you put things in and give it to people. Like, oh, here's my baby. Put it on the tree. Yeah, I thought, oh, those would be good eyelids. So, sorry if you gave me your child in a Christmas ornament. It's on my fridge. And then I thought, oh, how cool if I put smoke in here. And Drew said, no. What if it blows up? And I was like, well, I'll do it right. I won't do it. I'll find a professional to make a smoke machine. Partly. There was this man I found in Sweden, and I wish I had his Instagram name, but he does like little itty bitty smoke machines. And I said, I like that. And I asked him, hey, can you do this? Blah, blah. He said yes, and it was $50, I think. And then I got some tubing from Lowe's, and I'm not sure what these are called. A quick net. Thank you, babe. I go into Lowe's. I'm like, hey, I'm looking for a thing that does this. I'm not sure what it's called, but it does this. And they're like, oh, I don't know either. So I put it in, I threaded it through, and when I would turn on the smoke machine, the smoke would come out of the nose. But I didn't do it today. And her eyes glow. I got some lights on Amazon and just connected a battery to it. But the kids got scared. So I took that out. I thought, ooh, that was a little too much. And they thought it was the devil. I was like, no, she's nice. It's not. It's not the devil. And then I made Herb. And Herb is Drew. Drew is Herb. And I thought, oh, he would be a great Drew puppet. Which, go ahead, babe. And I thought, oh, he'd be so great. But he can't, and I love you, he can't talk at the same time as his hand. So I said, you know what? I will do his mouth, you talk. And he's like, how are we going to do that? I said, you do the bottom, the hands, and I'll be the mouth. So he'll talk, and I just follow what he's saying, and he can do the hands. Because sometimes you do need a script. That's important. And I'm going way off topic. Let's go back. Follow the road. I do that. I jump. So bad. Okay. So what is puppetry? Puppetry is the art of using puppets to tell stories. And why is it fading? And that's a super easy answer. Me. We think technology, which is great. Technology is really great. You can use it for all kinds of stuff, presentations, animations that you do at Sunday school. But we think we have to compete with that. And that will be boring because they play video games all the time. And it's because they play video games all the time that this is something new that you can do with just your hand. I think somebody said they do shadow puppets. They turn the lights off and do that. That's super cool. And it's just us. And I thought, well, if somebody else is going to do it, then I can do it. Anybody can do it. And you might think, oh, I don't have the creativity to do it. Well, somebody else might. A lot of people are talking about this, that failure is your best friend. And it is. There are some puppets that did not make it because I decided to try different glue. I thought, maybe my hand, I sewed the mouth closed. I thought, well, okay, that's it. This one just doesn't talk. Which you can do that. We've done it before. I just say, okay, you act it out. And so if somebody is too scared to talk, that's a great place for them. You just do all the talking. And then we use puppets in Sunday school to capture kids' attentions and imaginations. And puppets can voice questions kids are afraid to ask. We do a lot of deep, there's story lessons that are deeper than you think, and you're worried, how am I going to come across to kids? Puppets are great to get their attention and ask those questions. Google is your best friend. How I started, I watched a lot of YouTube videos. I wish there would have been one that was detailed from the beginning to the end of everything I wanted to do. The blinking eyeballs, I found someone who said, oh, look, I made it. And they just showed how it was blinking, and I thought, well, how? And I just had to, screenshot the picture and just look at it, and I went to Lowe's, and I was like, hey, do you have this little thing right there? I need that. So I did a lot of that, and I'll show you what else is my best friend. Push pins. Use those a lot. And this stuff, which my husband said is called JB Weld. Hold on. Oh, it was in here. But it's a little tube that's like clay, and then it gets hard. It gets really hot. Yes, it gets really hot. I didn't realize that at first. I did not wear gloves. It was not a good experience, but it did not stop me. So then the next time I used it, I used gloves and a face mask, because that stuff is really strong. But it is holding together the mechanism inside of the dragon puppet, because it needs structure, and that stuff will get really hard. And I'm scared to run out of time. But somebody else asked, how do we do puppets and keep it interesting? Because you might have puppets, but it's kind of like, and you're just like, oh, are you serious? Is there nothing else? Well, sometimes we do props, obviously. You saw this guy, which I made it Thursday night because I really, really wanted to do this. And I thought how I was going to do it, but it's also a couch cushion. Sorry, babe. And I got flashlights, and because it's so thick, you can't see it until you open it. And I got the high beam flashlights. I mean, there's a strobe. Jesus is cool. Jesus is fun. We can have party time in the Word. And it's glow in the dark. So I made this Thursday night, and he was there for the whole process. He just sits there where I'm like, yes, I'm going to do it. It's not working. Yes, I'm going to do it. No. The whole thing. And he's just like, okay. And then at the end, I'm like, babe, I did it. And he's like, okay. And I turned off the lights, and I was just like, get a video. I got to show my mom. And then I was texting everybody I knew. Like, just get excited. Who else gets excited about Sunday school? I love it. And then, what else? Sorry, I'm scattered. Oh, and then the big guy. So I wanted to really do something that was like, wow, that's big. And I looked it up on the online, and it was $800 for the big dude. It's supposed to fit 2 people inside, but my brother has a very big wingspan. I love you. And he could do it himself, but he just needed someone to do the mouth. So usually you would have whoever's got a strong right or left hand do the mouth and the other one, and then somebody else do the whatever's left. So you're both in there, and you can talk like, hey, I'm going left, I'm going right, which we did that last night. Drew and I were Herb, and I was like, hey, put your hand down. Hey, put your hand to the left. Hey, do this. Hey, point. And Drew was he was partying. So when we first did this, I lost the first one. I'm not sure where he went, which is crazy. How do you lose something that big? But he left. He found a new church, and I hope he's spreading the gospel. We taught him well. He's spreading revival. It might have been him actually preaching last night on the song, but we haven't named him. We've been debating, and the names that he has, oh, Lord, no. He's probably like, no, please don't name me that. But he is also, I wasn't sure if I wanted to have eyebrows on him. So to make it unpermanent, I just use push pins. And here's the fur. And I have cut my fingers a lot, really badly, because I use razor blades instead of scissors. That's what I've learned is the easiest, just FYI. But he looks kind of scary without the eyebrows. And I just used Sharpie because I'm going to be honest with you. I'm very big on procrastination, and it's very bad. Don't do that. Don't be me and start on Monday. And I was texting Kim, pray for me that I change my ways, that I'll never do this again. Lord, help me. And then I'm like, oh, I'm good. And then I do it again. So bad. So the only way to get your puppets, you can put down there, thank you. The only way that your puppets will be good is with practice. I don't know how many times I can tell you that. It just doesn't come naturally. I woke up one day and was like, yeah, I can talk at the same time. No, you got, and some people can't. But he's got a great voice, and I use that. So find the people around you who maybe don't want to talk, but can do this, and you read the script, and you guys are following at the same time. And I do have a little demonstration. I have 12 minutes. Oh, perfect. This doesn't have a hold. Okay. Come this way. I also do that a lot. When I'm like doing things, I'm like do 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 do. But I had right here. So if it's just you by yourself, hold this, babe. And I just want to disclaimer: I've never taught anything before besides Sunday school, so I'm not sure I'm being very informative. But if you want to do it by yourself, you stuff this little hand right here. And then you pin it. I'll get a pin. Excuse you. You pin it right in here. Oh. Okay. So you put the one you're not using. Here we go. There we go. Stick your hand in this side, which I'm not very good with my left, but I draw with my right. So that's something you might need to practice. That's a good hand. Okay, sorry. I can't help myself. Okay, and then, can you do that for me? Yep. Okay. I don't have teeth. Okay. So I'll be teaching. All right. I'll be teaching as Herb. I don't have Herb's voice, but if I wrote the skit, I would be Herb. Right now, I'm girly. Okay. So we'll do the story of the prodigal son. Everyone knows that. Everybody say yes. Yes. And the prodigal son liked to use something like this. Does everybody know what this is? Dice. And dice is used to predominantly gamble. Is gambling bad? Yes, we don't do that. And the prodigal son, well, he gambled with his life. And he only thought about somebody, everybody say I. He thought about I. And I wanted everything. I wanted to leave. I wanted my money. You go through the whole story. And it starts with he lived in a house with his parents. Do a little house right here. And he was unhappy with what he had. He wanted everything. And he went through the story, Dad, when are you going to die soon? So I can get my money. And he goes through all that. And he goes through he goes through the whole emotions, the story and everything. And at the end, that he can't go home. He lost all he has. He can't go home because his dad's going to be angry. So you do like an angry thing right there. And then he's like, I can't go back. I messed up. I just ruined everything, and now I have. And then you go this way. Oh, no. I'm sure you guys have done this before. Does anybody know what that says? N-O-T-8. What does it say? Nothing. Now I have, everybody say, because I used it all. But there was someone who died for us. Everybody knows who that is? Jesus. And he died and he took out I. He crossed it out because he died for you and I. Because sometimes we mess up. And sometimes we think we can't come and repent because he's angry at us. But he realized that he'd rather be a servant than nothing. So he went home stinky because he used to live with the little pig. He used to live with the pigs, and he thought, oh, I can't live there anymore. I'm going to go home. So he goes home, and he thinks, man, my dad's not going to want me because I'm stinky. Sniff me. Bad? Yeah, I knew it. So I'm going to go home, and my dad's probably going to be angry with me. So he goes home, and then you go through the whole emotions of that. And I see my dad out there. He's looking at me, and do you think you know what he is? He's happy to see me because I finally returned, and that's how Jesus feels about us, that he loves us no matter what, but we do need to ask for forgiveness. And see, my hand is slowly starting to stop moving because it's not my dominant hand. So he went home because Jesus is, and then, I don't know if you can read this. Usually I do it with paint. So I don't know if you can see what that spells. Everything, because Jesus is everything. And with paint, it would, kind of mark it up better. But you can use a puppet. It's kind of short, kind of easy. The kids are like, oh, what is that? And sometimes they'll spoil it. That says everything. Hey. But that's a little thing about how we use both. Sometimes I'll be the teacher, and he'll be in the puppet stand, and there'll be props. So you'll need more than 2 people to do it. You don't have to just teach. Sometimes you need dead air. Do you guys know that? We just learned what dead air meant. We didn't know what that word was. We just did it, but now we know. Yeah. So he'll come out. He can do riddles. He can do stuff. Oh, thanks. There's something in the back of your papers. I'm trying to not run out. If I didn't say anything, I try to be kind of specific on the informational handout. You can read it yourselves. But some people say they don't have creativity, and it's okay. But I want to help you a little bit. It does not have to be a person. It could be a cloud. It could be Herb. It's a monster. It could be a bug. I used bugs because I like them. I think they're super cool. And the kids like bugs. So on the back of your paper, it says, it's like create your own puppet. Let's see. And you just pick your birthday month. It corresponds with the color of that line, and then a number between 1 and 8. And that will give you a starter of like your puppet. So my birthday's August. I'd be a ladybug. It'd be white, and my favorite number is 3. And that ladybug would have 1 big ear, because that's what it says on there. And then you pick your personality. A puppet does need to have the same personality, just like a person would have. So somebody's mopey all the time. That's your negative puppet. You'd use it for all the negative stuff. Then you have your happy guy, your superhero, the one who's biblical all the time. He's the holy one. Then you have the one that's always straggling. And everybody knows who that is. He shows up and like, oh, he's not going to. And some of the kids are like, he doesn't know anything. Yeah, I know. That's why he's here. He needs to learn. And the kids will get into it and say, no, that's not true. And that's what you want, them to remember, to engage. And also what not to do. My husband really wants me to show you this part. So there's sometimes that you get tired. And this is where the practice comes in. Because your eyes always have to be at a certain part. I like to point my finger. So if I want, because I can't see sometimes if I'm behind the puppet stand or not looking. Oh, good job. You point your finger in what direction you want to look, and that'll help you keep it. Always point it down. Not that far down, babe. not that far down. And then sometimes you can't keep your hand up, and that's okay. We use a crutch. He will use a crutch. Because you don't want to look down. Then sometimes, you get tired. You start leaning on the puppet stand if there is one. If there is no puppet stand, there's nothing to lean on. So you're sweating by the end of it. You're like, oh, I need to work out more. But we do that. You can stack chairs if you don't have a crutch. He would stack chairs to keep his hand up. But the wrist is a big thing. And practice. I read online that it takes 10,000 hours to be good at something, to be a master at it. So if you spend 10,000 hours, you can be a puppet master. That is what Google said, and that's how my family says it in Mexico. It's not Google. But that's it. Oh, I have 3 minutes. Is there any questions I can answer in 3 minutes? No. No, not all the skins are made out of chairs. Yeah, we sleep on the scraps, which is funny because I asked him to help me, and help is stay with me at 3 o'clock in the morning, and he did. And I was looking for a piece of foam, and he had used it for a bed. He stacked it up, and he was asleep on the floor on my foam. So I just started yanking it out of him. It's like, sorry, babe, I need that. And then put it back. But, yes. Yes. No, I have not. Myself hindereth meeth. Meeth is noteth, capableeth. But Drew says, I will do it. Yes. 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 Okay, so I'm going to be honest with you. That was the first time. Because, really? Oh, that's good. Yes, everything live, and we've had problems where people get nervous, which is fine. That's not the problem. It's it's hard to do this, and people get more nervous to talk and do it at the same time. And we were coming with a shorter team because everybody had to work, and we thought, how could it make it easier? And I thought, oh, can we do this? And my brother-in-law, soon-to-be brother-in-law, is a sound guy. And I said, hey, have you heard this song? And he said, yeah. I said, can you do, woo-woo? And he said, oh, yeah, I can do that. I said, okay, can you do, he's like, yeah, I can do that. I said, all right. And then later on, I said, hey, can you add a voiceover on that? He said, yeah. I said, all right. And we asked Brother Julian to be the devil. Don't take it personally. But we asked him, and I said, hey, if he records all his lines, can you do it? And he said, I can do it. So I said, all right. And he did it all that one day at my house. And I was like, man, this is so cool. We're going to start doing it for people who are nervous to speak. Or if you have a hard time reading a script, which he does, he can't do both. My mind is crazy. I'm pretty sure I have ADD. Yeah, I think I do. Kids, sometimes we use kids, but usually they want to see it. It's what ends up happening, that they want to see what it is. Teenagers, oh yes, we have a great teenage group right now. They just started that there's no high school class. Sunday mornings they pick a ministry they want to be in, and Sunday school and sound, or maybe not sound, I'm not sure. But Sunday school was one of them, and that's our department. So we got a great group of kids, teenagers, who help every Sunday and who will do signs and anything. They're very helpful. So I don't know if everybody has that. But that's the end of it. I'm done. Sorry. Uh-huh. You got burned. That's funny. Then your prayer life's not great, brother.
Aubrey. Oh, sorry. I didn't realize it was on. All right. In a few moments, we'll be talking about taking your. It's the topic is making your bus ride more than a taxi ride, something like that. That's coming up next in a few moments. Let's do this. No, you can't go to heaven. Where did my